Nicholas Peasant Pizarro here, bringing you another game of Dota 2. This time also from the Dota 2 Cast It subreddit. This is a Captain's Mode game between two 5 stacks, according to the description. This time around, the MMR is around 4K, so it should be a little bit higher quality than the previous game I casted. And we'll see how it goes. So we're going to go ahead and go through the picks and bans, since it's Captain's Mode as opposed to all pick.
Team.
And we'll see how the teams shape up in terms of the picks they decide to make. Ban on Doom makes sense. Doom is a complete POS to play against, and if Radiant side doesn't feel like playing Doom, then it makes sense for them to ban him, because they would have had first pick. They could have potentially picked him up. So we'll see if they do typical bans like you would have seen in TI, or go for more of a bans that suit their playstyle. Different teams have different ways of doing things. We'll probably see a ban on Lycan though, given how strong he is.
Reserve time.
A ban on I don't know, one of the other heroes that are really powerful, like an Ember Spirit. But yeah, so Brew, also a popular hero. So two big team fight heroes banned out already. I don't mind that. Ban on Shadow Shaman, one of my favorite supports.
Team ban.
Great pusher, great disabler. It's a good ban. So good bans from both sides so far. Not really revealing too much. A ban on Tide is interesting. This leaves a Lycan pick open for Radiant if they decide to go for it. But this isn't TI, so they're not necessarily going to go for those picks that were always super popular. But a Lycan is a good pick. Just recently casted a game with Newbie where they used Lycan to good effect. Batrider, a nice pickup. Batrider's been less popular, but I think he's still a really strong hero if you build a team around him. The ability to blink in and pull someone out is pretty significant. It really changes the course of a team fight, as well as his Firefly giving vision around the Roche pit, and just in general when he's moving around. You give him a gem later on, he's able to deward quite effectively and leave the other team sort of struggling to keep vision up around the map. That's if you are able to build up an advantage. Napalm and Firefly give positional advantage in team fights, so he's good here. He's also pretty strong in lane. He's been nerfed multiple times, most recently doing half damage with his Firefly to non-hero units, so really lessening his ability to farm if he manages to pull a wave of creeps his way, but still pretty strong overall. Dire taking a lot of time here with their first pick. I guess kind of considering how they want to go about it against the Batrider. Alk is a good pick. He's very versatile. Razor also very popular and a strong pick overall. Surprised not to see any Lycan. I guess these teams don't really subscribe to the Lycan is god tier bandwagon, which is fine. I mean, obviously it depends on your playstyle. If you don't feel like building a pushing oriented team, then you shouldn't pick him. But I'd be afraid of having to play against them. Although what the Radiant did with their Batrider pick is sort of lessen the possibility of a Lycan, because Bat's one of the heroes that's able to control him slightly. So we have Bat and Morph against Alk and Razor currently. All 4 of these heroes are quite versatile. Both Alchemist and Razor could be safe farm, mid, maybe even offlane, although that's a bit of a stretch. Same with Bat, that could be mid, offlane, safe solo. Morph could be mid, safe solo, offlane. So these picks are quite flexible and allow both teams to sort of maneuver around what the other team decides to do. So we have a ban here on Skye and a ban on Shadow Demon. The ban on Shadow Demon is probably to avoid the disruption on the teammates when Bat manages to snag someone, because although they still move, it does save them from the wave of damage they would have had coming their way. And the Purge is also quite effective at slowing them down while he's trying to pull people away, so a pretty good pick on their part. Disrupt also synergizes quite nicely with Alchemist and his Cask, so if you get rid of that possibility for the combination, it's a little bit less dangerous. So it's up to Dire now to pick, and they're going to want to get someone, probably another support because Razor's likely to go mid, so they probably want to grab another flexible support to allow them to
10 seconds to go.
Sort of build the rest of their team around it. Although they could
5
obviously
seconds.
go for anything, whatever it is that they feel like going for, but Elder Titan, so that's probably going to be their offlaner.
Radiant's pick.
I imagine they pick Elder Titan in response to Morphling because of the fact that Natural Order reduces armor, and on heroes with very high agility, like Morphling tends to get later in the game, he's quite a good counter pick to help with being able to damage through and actually take them out, as opposed to just picking away at them, because magic damage starts to be insufficient and the armor makes it so
10 seconds
difficult to get
go.
physical damage through to their
5 seconds.
to make a significant dent in their HP bar.
Dire's pick.
Interesting pickup on Bane. I wonder if they're going to look for a synergy here with another hero. Like an Alchemist would be nice. Maybe they might have picked Bane as because they like Bane, but also to avoid some synergy with Alchemist and his cask. Is it called a cask? Concoction. That's right. Witch Doctor's the cask. They might have picked Bane to avoid
10
this potential
seconds
synergy
to
there.
go.
Bane against this team, or maybe it's to avoid a
5 seconds.
Lycan pick later on.
Reserve time.
But I guess we'll see what the Radiant's plans are for this. I'm kind of curious. Not quite seeing how this team is shaping out right now. Right now it looks like Radiant going for a lot of high mobility. Dire, a lot of lockdown. Lots of burst damage coming up from them.
Tinker.
Ooh, Tinker. So it's going to be Tink mid then.
Dire's ban.
And that's going to be Morph probably farming with that in the off lane. So Morph and Bane works. It's not a intensely effective combination, but it works pretty well. Bane is a good hero. He can be useful against Razor to hold him in place because he gets so quick later on.
Ban.
We see a ban here from the Dire on Verana to avoid Nightmare into Arrow kind of shenanigans. Tinker is an interesting pick here. They don't have the Bat Rider, so they don't have that problem to worry about. And Dire's already shown their offlane is going to be Elder Titan, so not someone who's hugely effective against Tinker. So the Dire is going to have to gank Tinker mid quite often if he's going to go mid, which I think he will.
Reserve time.
If they want to be able to keep him under control, otherwise he's going to kind of scale out of control. It's going to be difficult to match that. And in the late game, if Tinker and Morph both go for E-Blades, that's a lot of potential synergy between the two in terms of damage output. So a lot of burst coming out of them. But another high mobility hero once you get your Boots of Travel and your Blink Dagger up. So this team's going to be frustrating for Dire to try and chase down. Right now they have Alchemist and Avengeful and probably Razor mid and Elder Titan offlane. So the Dire could maybe pick something like a Spectre to try and
Dire's pick.
To try and counter the fact that they'll be getting a lot of bursts. So if you get Spectre tanked up enough, she's not as susceptible to getting burst down. She can also ulti in and chase down people across the map and sort of avoid the whole mobility issue. But we'll see what Dire decides to do here. Oh.
Radiant's
So they
pick.
pick Pudge. Pudge is okay. Maybe they have a really good Pudge player. So I guess it's going to be Razor farming then, and not mid lane. And I imagine it'll be Pudge mid versus Tinker. As long as you position yourself properly as Tinker, it's kind of difficult as Pudge to kill him. But that being said,
10 seconds to
they
go.
do have Alchemist and Vengeful Spirit, so if either of them comes for a smoke gank on Tinker, they'll be able to stun and get him hooked in and killed pretty easily. So it does provide a lot of potential to sort of hold the Tinker down. I think Razor could have done a pretty good job against that, but then again, he would also suffer from misses due to lasers, whereas Pudge can supplement a little bit with Rot to try and get last hits even when he can't, when he has a high miss chance due to laser blinding him. So the last pick, pretty important pick. This is going to be probably the other support, or maybe a jungler if they chose to go really greedy. They're going to want to have someone to supplement, I think, their mid game because Tinker and Morphling are too strong. Abaddon, a nice pick, going to help a lot with the various stuns to save people from being stuck in stun lock, as well as heals you can throw out, and just allow people like Batrider and Morphling to jump in without worrying about being bursted down immediately. So a really interesting lineup. Very different from what you would see in the pro games, which I've been casting a lot of. But this is a little bit more similar to what I tend to see in my games. It's not quite so conventional. And these lineups, they make sense. The heroes make sense given the situation. I think some picks could be a little bit different. I'm not sure about the Pudge. And I'm not sure about the Bane.
10 seconds to go.
And Tinker could potentially be
5 seconds
to the Radiant's detriment, but we'll see what happens. Pretty good initial setup here. So we start the game with a pause. We'll take a quick look here at these heroes. So I'm going to say probably, well, here, it's not even going to bother. Jump forward into the future. Oh, so polite. They waited a decent amount of time there. So smoke on Alk and a smoke on Venge. They're probably planning to do a bunch of ganks. They might actually start off with a gank here on mid. There's 4 moving down mid, with Elder Titan going off into the out lane. He went for boots first, makes sense. Platero here on the Bane, likely looking to ward here on the Ancient. We'll see if he manages to close in before the gank squad comes up to meet him. This is a little bit of a risky spot for him. So there's the smoke coming out. Elder Titan gets his ward off. That's going to give him pretty good vision. No vision on the rune, but that's alright. Oh, Bane's going to notice them coming up. Oh my god, Bane, what are you doing? Okay, so Bane is dead. And he must be looking somewhere else on the map, but that is just a horrible death.
First blood!
in
Maybe
30
he's AFK?
seconds.
First blood! Have I got Jess on
He's
the
not moving.
chains?
Well, that's a nice start there for the Dire. Smoke gank paid off with a kill. So Bane, I don't know what he was doing. Maybe he was AFK. Anyways, he's going to run back there and probably check for a ward, as the Ancients are blocked right now. Abaddon also has sentries, so he can actually
Well,
place
if
one
you say
first.
so.
So that's a little win for them. They're able to get the D ward or on the Ancients and make sure that they're not blocked. And Bane's going to get a ward up here, I think in mid for first Tinker, but a really bad start for the Radiant here, and a really nice one consequently for these guys. They actually have another smoke, and they're probably going to try and gank the Tinker mid. Another pause. Bane is lagging. Okay. So before you start playing, you should make sure that your computer's working properly. It sucks when it lags like that, especially when it lags unexpectedly and you die on the rune from a smoke gank that you saw coming but you couldn't move out of the way for. So we'll see here if these guys decide to smoke up. Looks like they're electing not to. This ward here from Bane would have prevented Tinker from dying. He's waiting for the haste. He's going to move around here. And he knows that Alchemist and Venge are there. I don't know if they noticed the ward being placed, but we'll see how that goes. So I wonder if this guy's name is Dumas, like Alexandre Dumas. This guy wrote Three Musketeers. I think his name was Alexandre. Anyways, unrelated. Abaddon and Morphling in the bottom lane against the Elder Titan. This should be a pretty easy lane for Morphling to farm in. Bane here is messing around with the trial lane. So they've chosen to run what looks like a dual lane with the Bat and the Bane. Bane probably looking to supplement a little bit and help them out. They do get the D ward. This ward that they placed, not very difficult to D ward. He was kind of a little bit rushed, but I think he could have put a ward somewhere on this side. It's a little bit harder to spot. But then again, he's also risking exposing himself to getting killed by the enemy team. They're so lucky that this is just barely out of range of that ward. So if we take a look here at the last hits, Tinker leading 6-3 with 1 denied. Pudge not really having a good time, and this is what I mentioned earlier. If they'd gotten that gank off on the Tinker mid, they'd probably be a lot better off with their Pudge. But they weren't able to successfully execute the gank. They decided to back up rather than use another smoke. And Tinker's leading pretty handily here on Pudge. Pudge is quite close to his bottle. Tinker already has his bottle, but I think Pudge went for boots, interestingly, so maybe Pudge is figuring if he can close on Tinker and go ahead and rot him down, he should be able to get a kill. Razor TPing back into lane. I didn't notice. I guess he got pushed out by the Batrider or something. Wait, did he die? So Bat killed Razor. I didn't even notice. Too busy talking about Tinker mid. That's kind of embarrassing when you have a tri-lane against a dual lane, and Bane was off stacking Ancients, so it's not like Batrider was even getting that much help. So these guys have decided here just to hang out nearby, make sure that Razor can't get picked off again. Interesting choice by Bat. He uses Firefly at the start of the game to burn down these trees. Makes him a lot less susceptible to ganks. It also makes it so he can't juke into the trees, but I guess he's figured that on the balance of probability, it's better for him just to not be exposed rather than have that option to juke away should he need to. This Elder Titan kind of struggling here against this bottom lane. There's a lot of damage coming out from Morphling with his Harass, as well as Abaddon has the potential to throw down shields and the like. Would like to see Morphling use a Tango here. Decides to use a salve. Pudge going for the kill here. He's got his rod on. He's making use of those boots, and he's going to finish off Tinker. That was quite a nice play from him, winding up the hook. And he's level 6 now, and that was a bit of a misplay from Tinker in terms of positioning. So he's going to die to the Pudge, and did he have something on the Courier? Oh, he had his boots on the Courier, so he was just a little bit off from being able to likely get away from that gank. These two were actually ready to smoke in, but Pudge went ahead and killed Tinker without them. So Rune's going to be top, and that's an invisibility rune. We'll see if Vengeful Spirit decides to get it. I think she's waiting for Pudge. Pudge's going to go ahead and grab that rune and give him another advantage in lane. He can sneak away unseen. They do have a ward here, though, so they know that they're there. And Alchemist did something, I'm not sure what. So this is not actually going to achieve much in terms of their presence here in mid. And I think they do suspect there's a ward up, but they actually don't catch it. They're a little bit off with the sentry, and there aren't any more sentries in their possession. So, meanwhile, Batrider here just harassing the crap out of Razor. Although Razor has managed to get ahead on last hits, but bear in mind, Batrider does have that gold that he got from the kill on him. These guys are really looking for a ward up there. Elder Titan just happy to leech experience. If you compare the two offlaners, Bat obviously doing, well, maybe not obviously. Was doing better. Let's look at net worth. Also, they're pretty even actually. I figured Elder Titan was doing worse than he is, but he actually has a pretty good amount of last hits. Just very low on health. Using his spirit to try and land those last hits as well as harass. He's doing a pretty good job of that. These guys looking to put an end to Bat's reign of terror on the Razor. Bat backing up, and he doesn't know what's coming, so he's vengeful. Vengeful Spirit should have done a screen there to provide sight uphill and could have thrown off her stun and then followed up with an Alp
Dyer's
stun.
middle tower is
They might have decided
attacked.
that it was a little bit too risky, but that was a lot of time they spent running up in that specific direction after failing gank mid. So I would say that Dyer's, oh, they're ahead. I would have said they're behind. But they're doing a pretty good job farming a lane with the Elder Titan and the Razor. Just that the supports need the levels from the ganks if they're going to go for a roaming strat. And they're not really getting those right now. Then again, the Radiant supports are also not extremely high on levels. Bane doing a pretty good job here of continuing to stack on behalf of his comrades. And I think he just barely noticed that sentry, so he's going to go ahead and pick that off. Nice clear up for here. Bat here is pulling the neutral creeps, but didn't have enough span left on his Firefly to actually finish them off, so he's helping his opponents more than hindering them. Pudge here has got it as invis. He's going to close it on Bat, and if he can, he might just choose to go in with a dismember and not even bother with the hook. Although his invisibility just ran up, so he's coming from behind. His team needs to move forward. Nice hook from Pudge. That was quite a well-landed hook, and that's a dead Batrider. So great coordination there on that gank. Pudge making good use of the invisibility rune, which actually allowed him to move up towards top lane without being spotted by this ward. Not sure he went invisible, because they might have seen him as he went fade into invisibility, but then again, they could have also assumed that he just stayed mid. Pudge here has got his urn up and running, which is nice for him. Morph, meanwhile, has a ring of health, so that harass from Elder Titan's not going to be nearly as effective as it was earlier in the game. Pudge trying here for another. There's observer wards on the ground. Trying for another hook, but no luck this time around. Oh, and that ward is going to get dewarded if they notice that it was put down. And I think the sentry should provide sight, actually.
Dire's middle tower is being attacked.
Anyways, I'm going to stop playing with Fog of War. Alright, so Bane's setting up here. Elder Titan likely to fall. Goes for the slurp, and that's a little bit of an equalizing kill. Dire's still ahead by 1, but it's not all about kills, obviously. Still pretty even, though. This game is kind of... I'd say it's sort of going in terms of... in Dire's favor in terms of momentum. But if we look at the lineup... it's a little bit difficult to say, but I would say that depending on how well Tinker does, generally I would say that Radiant has the late game advantage. Come on, man, there's a ward here. What are you doing? Tinker's so focused on wanting to get his stack going, he doesn't even notice the ward that's staring him right in the face. He's going to get a lot of money from these
Radiant's middle tower is
ancient
under
stacks,
attack.
so he's likely looking to get his boots around the 12-minute mark if he doesn't get interrupted. But this ward here that he saw while he was running back is going to leave him vulnerable to getting his experience and his gold stolen by the other team. And they run around, they wrap around here, he's probably going to die. Bat does try to save him with a nice flame break, but it's too little too late. Meanwhile, Bane here closing in, so this might be a good turnaround for them. They're going to be able to kill the Vengeful Spirit. Alchemist desperately trying to get out. Will Bane get to him in time? Nice flame break there, going to stop him from getting away. Pudge pulling him in. That's another kill. So kind of tit for tat here. Both teams taking out 2 heroes. Arguably worse for Radiant though, because they lost their Tinker, and he lost a bunch of experience there. They would have gotten out of the stack. Not sure if he noticed when he was walking past that ward, but he really should have taken it out. Would have made a big difference there. It made it a lot more difficult for them to pick him off. So he's going to get his bottle back off the courier and just farm the
Radiant's middle tower is being attacked.
So this Pudge pick, the Pudge that I was doubting, is actually doing a pretty good job. Oh my god. So many pauses. He's actually doing a pretty good job of snowballing right now. His team also doing great work in terms of supporting him in the kills that he does look to go for. Pudge here gonna go prevent the ward. There's Dismember. Bane trying to get the Nightmare off, but the animation was too long. He's gonna die. Almost got the Brain Sap off as well. Elder Titan here, overcommitting a little bit. Might end it dying, actually. Bat does have his lasso if you can grab him, but Pudge here is waiting for a hook. Oh, he just barely misses Tinker. They grab Elder Titan. Pudge, where are you, Pudge? Pudge wants to help his team. There's the stun from Alchemist. Elder Titan is going to fall. They're not really able to respond. Too many there in position. And they finally do get the ward. Wait, never mind. They didn't get the ward. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. I think Bane's aware of the ward being there, though, so he might come back with another sentry.
Radiant's top tower is under siege.
Another overlapping
Radiant
ward.
Structures have been
These guys are thinking like exactly the same thing.
Radiant's top tower
So
is
Razor and
being
Pudge
attacked.
here are doing quite well for the team, but they're kind of neck and neck with the Tinker and the Morph. Pretty even overall, which you can see in the gold graph. It's been fluctuating a bit, but nothing too crazy. And I think these guys are going to try and go for a push out on the tower bottom, but little do they know that they have some friends here waiting in the jungle. Tinker is mostly focused on taking his stacks, which his team has ever so kindly provided for him. Venge is actually going to notice that and might go ahead and leech some experience. Nice heal there from Abaddon, going to keep Tinker up and let him do another soul ring if he does choose so. And he gets his boots of travel, so 11 minutes boots of travel, not bad considering the fact that
Mega kill.
he's died, right? I remember him dying. Yeah, he's died twice, but he still has boots of travel. His team's doing a really good job of supporting him there. And this is a beautifully placed sentry ward. Managed to take out the observer there, and if they go back up, they'll notice that there's a sentry there as well. Pudge going to want to pressure mid in the meantime, but Tinker has his boots travel up, so this is where things can change for a team with the Tinker. At the same time, Pudge does have a blink, which is going to make him ever more deadly for anyone on the opposing side. Gives him a lot more reach. Combined blink plus his hook. So if we look at the way this game is progressing, since these teams asked for a little bit more detailed feedback, I'm going to try and provide it. If we look at the way this game is progressing, Dire is really doing a lot to pressure Radiant and try and push them out of the game plan, try and keep them from being able to take stacks easily, from being able to stack up easily, from being able to farm up on their Morphling. They're pressuring bottom lane from time to time. They're just looking for pickoffs and kills because they have a team that has a lot of burst and kill potential. And they have been doing that rather successfully, but at the same time, Radiant has actually been able to ensure that the farm on their Tinker, first of all, is still happening, but that their other farming heroes, the Morphling and the Bat, are still doing quite well. And Bat has his Blink Dagger, and Morph has, well, not much actually. Does he have something on the courier? Morph has Power Treads, which is not hard to build into, but it's still a reasonable amount of gold to gather up. He hasn't been doing as well as his comrades, especially considering he's in the safe lane, but not everyone can have a perfect lane. Tinker here is a happy camper now that he's got to boost travel. He's going to be able to accelerate his farm. And he's actually getting pretty close to Blink already. He's coming mid. He wants to try and support his team. They're looking for a gank here. If Pudge can pick someone off, they can potentially snowball off of that and take out one or two more. But he's actually in a dangerous spot, and they do have a ward here. They know he's there. He needs to blink before he takes damage. Pudge is going to be taken out. Oh, the Flame Break actually saves Pudge from a pretty certain death, but he's taking a lot of damage there in mid. Gets hooked. Gets grabbed by Bat. Bat wanting to follow up here on the next hero. He's napalming the Vengeful Spirit. She's probably going to fall. Pudge did manage to suicide, but that's 2 kills for nothing. Suicide not giving any gold or, well, gives experience, I think. I should check that up. But Suicide not giving any gold to the opposing team, but still slows down Pudge, who's here was very dependent on being able to continue his momentum. Tinker here is starting to pick up. Again, getting closer to that Blink Dagger. We'll see if Bane's able to get another stack in. Not sure if that's what he's aiming to do right now. Elder Titan actually has a mechanism, so this should help in the next team fight. Potentially save Pudge from himself. Pudge went for the early Blink. Doesn't have a lot of extra health or a hood, so we'll see how he's able to adjust his item build to try and last a little bit longer, because obviously he was picked off pretty quickly in that case. So it looks like Tinker here is going to be doing his own stacking. He's going to let Bane kind of do his own thing in terms of moving around. Elder Titan. Oh, the hook? I thought that would have hit, but it was just a little bit off. Bane ulting here on the... whoa. Some pretty big plays here from them. Abaddon does have his ultimate up, so he can continue running in. That's a pick off there on the Elder Titan. Bane stuck in position, did get stunned. Bad looking to make something happen, but he's taking damage, can't blink right now. Flame Break is on cooldown. Looks like it's a standoff, but they're going to back off a little bit. Pudge, still full health and has full mana, so if he can find a hook, he's probably going to get a kill. Meanwhile, Morphling is farming, and Razor did come in to defend, so this is a little bit more advantageous for the Radiant in terms of they're starting to
Dire's
climb
bottom
up
tower is under
lead.
siege.
They'll likely get eliminated pretty soon thereafter, but Pudge, witnessing the fact that Tinker is now continuing to increase his money. Tinker with a blink. Not much Pudge can do to stop that. Because if he moves into the machines, he's likely going to die. Radiant aware of the regen rune. Bat here looking for a kill on bottom, but Alchemist is actually moving, looks like, towards mid. And they have wards, so he's seen that Bat came into position if he's paying attention, which I assume he is. Now that Blink's up on Tinker, he's going to go ahead and spam down this lane, keep him from pushing, and then TP back and come do the same thing. So it's going to be very difficult for them to break down the middle lane, but Razor doing a pretty good job here, pressuring on the other side. I'm interested to see if Morph decides to take down the tower or continue farming. And I swear to God, he has the same items he did a few minutes ago.
Not sure what's going on with this Morph. Is under siege.
Vengeful Spirit, nice pick off there on Bane. Chose not to use her swap. Pudge puts him in? I'm not sure. Should probably try and not miss those quite so often. There's Pudge coming up into the whole mess. Abaddon's ulti procs. Batrider coming in though. He's going to flame break to create some space, but he gets caught out of position. Razor's lightning's going to kill him. Pudge managed to finish. Oh no, Abaddon gets a suicide. Meanwhile, Tinker picks up a kill here on the Razor, and he should be able to get out scot-free. Yeah, he's going to TP out. Pudge looking for the hook, but he's not going to find anything, unfortunately, for him.
Bottom tower is
Meanwhile, Bane TP's in on the tower, and if they're aware he's there, they could actually take him out. Bane trying to back up. Elder Titan has provided sight. Pudge can blink in 1 second, but he's not going to go for it. He's not going to go for it? No, he's not going to go for it.
Radiant's middle tower is under siege.
Looks like they're just going to try for the tower
Radiant
mid.
has fortified its structures.
Oh, goes ahead for the dismember, but that was an awful swap there from Vengeful Spirit, throwing him off. She could have just put her stun in and kept the swap for later. Elder Titan needs to back up. He's going to get picked off by something if he doesn't. Bat going ahead, blinking in quite aggressively, counting on Abaddon to shield him up if need be. There's the shield. He's going to take out Vengeful Spirit. We'll see if Bat is able to get out of this alive, and looks like he'll be alright in that department. Meanwhile, Pudge getting chased down by the Morphling, who has to back up. Doesn't have enough in his tank to take him out. So this game, quite hectic. When it's more than a kill per minute, you know there's a lot going on. Managed to deny the mid tower, which is a pretty big win for them, but Radiant is starting to pull ahead, in my opinion. I know things are not going especially well when Tinker starts farming your jungle. I really need to put more pressure on Tinker early on because he's a huge pain. Pudge almost gets there in time, but not quite fast enough. Tinker's already moved on to the next target. We'll see if he decides to head back up top. And I think Pudge is waiting for this opportunity
is
here.
Being attacked.
He's working on, I think, a Dagon. Give him some kill potential there in the early game. So Tinker is coming back up mid. Pudge does know this. And he's blinked into the trees. So Pudge...
Dire's top tower
Pudge is getting showed up by Tinker. Go ahead and try and help me. So cheeky, shooting rockets at him too.
Are meant to do that.
Not quite sure what the game plan is with all the sentries here in mid, but certainly have coverage. Jeez, it's a lot of money spent on sentries and wards. Not sure why they have a ward here. Probably better put a ward here or further down this way. A little bit of overlapping sight.
Radiant's bottom tower is under siege.
Without much to show for it. So right now, Dire needs to find a way to shut down the Tinker before he really snowballs out of control.
Radiant's bottom tower is
Morphling is also a problem, but they really need to
fans of towers out
kind of find anyone really. They do find the Razor, but the shield's gonna. Oh, never mind. I don't know. Razor's gonna not survive quite yet. Oh.
Dominating! Double kill!
2 for 1 there, and more kills to go to Tinker. Bat trying to chase down the Elder Titan. There's a big Alk stun coming out. Pudge here looking for a chance. Misses his hook, but he can still grab with Dismember if he's quick enough. Not quick enough. Going to try and do a wraparound here and follow up with a second one. But Tinker's coming back in, and he's got rockets and lasers and Dagon galore. There's the hook on Tinker. There's the Dismember. Are they going to be able to save him? Nice stun from Alchemist. Stops Abaddon from shielding him up. Pudge getting beat down. Tinker is running away. He has blinked down into the bottom lane. And Pudge is going to have to back up. So nice team play there with the Flame Break pushing Pudge off of him. But it looks like they're going to go ahead and go for the pick off on Tinker. Does Nightmare himself. Stuns 2 targets. Pudge doesn't have quite enough damage here to finish anyone off. And looks like Bane's going to get away. Tinker making a real pain of himself coming in and out of the fight and just throwing out a bunch of damage, holding them off quite nicely. He's going to go ahead and TP back, and Bane managed to get out of there just by the skin of his teeth. Which is a pretty gross expression when you think about it, the skin of his teeth. Ugh. Tinker pushing top. Dire struggling to get control of this game. And it's really swinging in the Radiant's favor. Every time they try and gank someone, Tinker comes in and throws in a bunch of unexpected damage and is able to escape
Dire's top tower is being attacked.
From most scenarios. I'm gonna get rid of this thing. Just pull it up next time we pause randomly. Pudge getting beat down by the... Oh, Tinker's going in for the kill now. There's the laser. Pudge trying to suicide, but Abaddon manages to finish him off. Tinker should be able to get out of here if they don't go ahead and pick him out of the trees. Manages to put him to sleep, so this could be a kill on Tinker as well. And there's Tinker's death, finally. Abaddon, nice decision there. I was just going to say should TP out, but he gets swapped by Vengeful Spirit, and he's going to die as well. So this is a nice little engagement here for Dire. They're finally getting something going. A ton of damage stolen by Razor, but he decides to turn around. Wants to pick off the Batrider instead. Bane manages to hold him in place briefly, but the Nightmare didn't last quite long enough. He's going to finish off Bane as well. Big turnaround here for the Dire. They were really suffering, but
tower is under siege.
a little bit of an overcommit there from the Tinker on the Pudge kill mid. Could have dropped back and let Abaddon try and finish him off as opposed to diving in. Sometimes you just need to let your teammates finish the job, especially when you have a lot of kills to your name and you're going to go ahead and feed someone a big kill streak.
Radiant's middle
Well, in
tower
terms of
is
people to
under
feed
attack.
a kill streak to, I think it was Elder Titan who got that kill, which is not super significant. They're going to go ahead and take a tower off of this, but Tinker has differing opinions on whether they'll be able to do this or not. He's going to try and go ahead and spam rockets to hold them off, try and discourage them. Nice fort there, going to hold them off just a little bit longer. Morphling looking to get the deny, but I don't know if he's going to... You guys deny the tower. Can't believe these towers aren't denied yet. Alright, there's the kill on Vengeful Spirit. Poor Dire, every time they try and go in, if they don't go in decisively and take someone out, they end up getting picked off by Tinker. A counter kill with Pudge here on the Bane. They're looking to get the Morphling. Coming in with a stun. Morph has used his waveform, so he's not going to be able to get out of that. There's the shield gone up on Morph. See if Pudge doesn't have Dismember up, so he's not able to save him with that. Razor has BKB activated, going in on all three heroes. 4 heroes, actually. Pudge sees the Tinker. He's waiting to grab the Batrider. Nice patience there from the Pudge. They want to try and pick this Tinker off before he can get out again. But Abaddon's shield really causing a lot of problems for them. But Tinker should fall here. So that's another 2 kills picked up for Dire. Doing a really good job there of working with what they've got in terms of the farm on Razor and Pudge's ability to put out a lot of damage and pull people out of position. So nice little comeback there from the Dire. They were almost letting Radiant spiral out of control, but looks like they pulled it back a bit. Blink Dagger up now on Alchemist. We look at everyone's items. There's a BKB, pretty crucial item as we saw in that last team fight on the Razor. Mech and Force Staff for the Elder Titan. Burn of Shadows, inconsequential, as is Soul Ring, but Alc does have his Blink Dagger up. There's Blinks on Batrider and Tinker on the Radiant side. Lincoln's is now done for the Morphling, so no more Dismember, likely. And a mech up on Abaddon, so... And then Tinker obviously has Boost of Travel and his Dagon. So he's doing pretty well there himself. I think he's looking to upgrade it a few levels before he goes for something else, although he might go for a Ghost Scepter next if he's going to go E-Blade on Tinker. And it's interesting seeing games like this with Tinker. It makes you wonder whether in the next patch Tinker is going to get nerfed. Wouldn't be surprised if he did, because he is just such a strong hero. You give him any sort of chance to get farm, and becomes a huge problem for your team just because of his ability to move around the map so quickly and the ability that Blink Dagger in combination with his ultimate to TP back provides him. Bane just being diligent, checking here for a ward. Would have probably liked it if he put it over a little bit more, because then you're able to check here on this spot as well if he thinks there's a ward here. This middling one just covers here and neither here nor here, so better to commit to one side or to the other as opposed to just in the middle. Dire here looking for another kill. They want to kind of continue building off of the momentum they've regained. Pudge, I think, is going for Boots of Travel. He wants to be able to match Tinker ever so slightly in terms of mobility. It's going to be difficult, obviously, because of his ability to just TP everywhere constantly, but it's a good idea. The move speed will help him a lot. Although he could do to get a little bit of magic resistance in my opinion, which is what he's taking a lot of damage from currently. Meanwhile, Morphling continues to farm. Razor outdoing him on the last hits, and consequently in net worth, but Tinker right up there with him, in fact past him. Looks like they're going to go do Roshan. So they have the armor advantage with the Alchemist Spray, as well as Vengeful Scream, and a Medallion, so should be able to take him down pretty quickly, and Alchemist can tank with his regen. I don't think that the Radiant is aware of this. They actually went ahead and de-warded those wards that I pointed out earlier.
Dire's top tower is being attacked.
So this is going to be a nice little pickup here for the Dire.
Roshan, who was just minding his own
Razor with the
business,
Aegis means he can
has
jump
been
in fights
powerfully
even more
Dire's
freely
top
than he was
tower
doing
is
before
under
with his
attack.
BKB. So Radiant was winning, and they were snowballing out of control. Let's look at their current state and try and think of what they can do better. So I think the reason that Dire was able to pull it back is they're a little bit out of position and doing sort of the classical mistake of one guy goes in, gets picked off, and you try and engage on top of that. But they need to pull it back a little bit and play more defensively until they can get a little bit more of an advantage back in their favor again, because this lineup here from the Dire does do very well once they start getting some movement in the right direction, because they have the ability to jump out and just pick off pretty much anyone.
Radiant's bottom tower is being attacked.
So what they're going to look to do is just have Tinker spam his robots here and march away, and maybe, I guess, wait for someone to drop low and try
Radiant's
and go on
bottom
that.
tower is under siege.
Meanwhile, Morphling should really replicate one of these guys and move to farm in another area, take advantage of his ability. Elder Titan does find Bat there on the side. Not sure if he spotted him with the vision or not, but Bat's going to decide to drop out of that little corner just in case. And Dire looks like they're really intent here on taking this tower, but they need to find an opportunity for themselves to go in
Dire's
and take
middle
out the
tower
Tinker
is
before
under
he
attack.
machine
Radiant
spams them
has
to death.
fortified its structures.
So Morph did go ahead and
Radiant's
get a
bottom
replicate
tower
going.
is being attacked. Dire's middle tower is being attacked.
Both sides kind of jockeying for position here. Mech to heal him back up. Bat waiting with Firefly patiently. Sees the Razor. Will he go in?
Dire's middle
No,
tower
he just goes
is
down
under
for some
attack.
reason. So that was a missed opportunity for Bat. Nice pickoff, easy pickoff for them on the Bat. Nice Venge swap out into the open. Bane manages to save himself from the Vengeful Spirit stun damage with his Nightmare. It does hold him in place for a little bit, but not super consequential. Do remember that Razor has that Aegis, so he's able to respawn, but taking so much damage here fighting underneath the machines. They're looking for the pickoff here on Abaddon. Nice Lincoln Sphere use there to save him. And Tinker just providing so much backbone to this team, making it so difficult for them to pick him off. They do manage to get the tower, but that's at the cost of an Aegis as well as the life of Alchemist. A pretty good hold here from the Radiant. Still providing an advantage to the Dire in terms of gold because of the tower they took, but that was a good hold for them. They made them really pay for the tower as opposed to just giving it away, which it looked like they might kind of need into that situation by then. Dig on 3 on the Tink. He's going to be doing a lot of burst damage once he gets up to his Dig on 5. Meanwhile, Morph kind of still struggling, doesn't really have any items. Despite the fact that he's been farming a lot of this game. Not sure if he's just not succeeding on the last hit front, or he's not even getting ganked off, and he's just sort of a non-factor. Bat spots out the Pudge, but decides to back up. I don't know if he realizes he had his whole team with him there, but he probably could have gotten the pick off. It's a little bit risky, but I think he could have made it work. Morph right now is sending in a replicate down bottom, probably wanting to farm bottom lane after he pushes mid. See if he can get the tower. Actually is in deny range. So pretty fast game so far. A little lull in it, but a lot going on. Razor does pick up Zaghanim's going to help him with the base push. Dire needs to keep making them pay for each of their pushes and work on getting Morphling his farm so that he can fight side by side with Tinker and really
Dire's middle tower has fallen.
pick off
Radiant's
people
top
before they
tower is
can
under attack.
fight back.
So that's something that's
So
happening.
Morph here decides not to go down to his replicate. But they give up a
Radiant's
free
top
tower on
tower
top,
has
and
fallen.
Razor did use his ultimate, which is still running, but sometimes you need to give up your tier 2s so you can defend your tier 3s. Tinker just spamming the crap out of his machines. Morph taking advantage of the fact that most of the team is up there. He's going to push up mid and try and get some damage in on this middle tower. But Razor TP's in, so he's going to have to back up. Bat wants to find a kill. He sees them there. He knows it's not entirely safe. So he's just going to go ahead and use that
Radiant's
Firefly
top tower is
for
being
the scouting
attacked.
potential as we discussed during the draft. Nice move here from Alchemist. Going to prevent any blinks with the acid spray. Just covers your tracks nicely as you back up. So Dara has been getting momentum, but I don't think they've been doing. Radiant's been doing enough in the meantime to kind of let Tinker and Morph continue to farm. So that I'd say they're in the advantage here, ever so slightly. Elder Titan does have a lot of farm, but honestly it's not really that super crucial to get farm on Elder Titan. He's one of those heroes that mostly needs levels because of the strength of his skills. It's what makes him a strong hero. Doesn't really benefit much from something like a refresher, which is one of the more expensive items you might aspire to save up to. Would like to see Elder Titan take some of the some of the support burden in terms of buying wards to let his supports here get some more meaningful items so they can participate more in team fights, because all Elder Titan's doing really is popping mech and then ulting up and trying to catch someone there. Sorry about my voice, a lot of talking today. And a lot to say about this game, which we're enjoying right at this very moment. So, Vengeful, gonna notice here that Morphing's there, but not quick enough on the stomp. They're not gonna be able to catch Morph out of position. They do not have an Aegis up, so this is gonna be a risky fight for them, given last time they took a tower they lost 2, or last time they were here they lost 2, if you include the Aegis death. Pudge needs to find an opportunity here for himself to get a hook off, and then that way they can isolate one of the players on the other team without too much risk on their own side. And this kind of, although it's sad to see the Dire sort of plateauing, it kind of shows here why Pudge isn't that super effective and why I don't like him that much as a mid, because, well, he got a lot of kills early and he was really striking the fear into the other team, but Tinker, meanwhile, you got his stacks up and he was able to get a lot of farm. Now he's super effective and I'd say a lot more dangerous than the Pudges and a lot more useful in defending. Pudge is going to be able to jump in and hook someone, but they've got a lot of force stabs on their team and just mobility in general to help them with trying to avoid getting picked off by Pudge. Tinker coming in here on the siege engine. Bat's looking for something, but he's just going to settle for a... oh, there's a whiffed rocket. Little defensive play with the marching machines. They're going in here on Elder Titan. Elder Titan is going to fall. Nothing he can do to save himself. Coming in with a Dagon to finish him off.
Oh, dear.
So Tinker decided to stop at Dagon 3 and get a Ghost Scepter. I think he's going to go for E-Blade next, which is, in my opinion, a good decision. E-Blade gives him that extra survivability to protect him from right clicks. And he's going to spam down this lane, prevent Razor from farming for a little bit. Just such an annoying hero to play against. If the Dire had chosen someone like a Bounty Hunter or something like that as the offlane, they could have had him sniping off Tinker mid and when he's pushing out lanes later on in the game. But they don't really have too much of an answer to that, especially considering they're the team playing against the bat as opposed to with the bat. So Tinker's just going to keep here pushing the lanes. Pudge really trying his best to grab Tinker out of position, but no luck for quite some time now. Tinker here going to take advantage of placing his March Machines just so to get farm on both of those. Dire's looking to do Roche again. They desperately need like an adrenaline boost here and help their team out, and Roshan could be the thing that provides it. They have to stop letting the Radiant farm around the map and just drain the resources, because right now they're roaming around in packs and not really finding anything to do with their ability to gank. Meanwhile, Radiant's just farming up their jungle, and you see bats here starting to move up the farm charts. or the net worth charts. Elder Titan pulling Ancients like a good boy, helping his team out. So I think honestly they should be doing Roshan right now, as opposed to doing Ancients. Although they don't have any sight up, so it's a little bit risky. But they got 3 guys here.
Regeneration.
Bane's gonna pop on by. Dire. Guys, more items are not gonna help you because you can't match the amount of farm that the other guys are gonna have. It's not gonna help you getting more items. That here knows they're trying to do Roshan. They delayed for so long that he was able to run out and check. Hutch tries for a hook, not successful. And Tinker's going to be coming back in here, and if they do try to do Roshan, he's likely going to look to make them pay. They don't have a smoke though, so they're not going to be able to approach it in an especially stealthy fashion. And they got Roche down to half health. Hutch doing a pretty good job here being the sentinel. And they need to move if they want to contest it now, but looks like that might not be what they're aiming to do. Yeah, they're just going to let the Roche go.
Roshan has fallen to the Dom.
I guess because they figured they couldn't get themselves into position soon enough, and they're comfortable enough with the current state of affairs that they're just going to let them take the Roshan. I guess it's their way of saying, well, go ahead, we're not scared of you. That farming the enemy jungle, it's always a nice feeling when you're able to do that without being too afraid. An eye on Vengeful Spirit, interesting decision for her. We'll see if she gives it to someone else.
Dire's top tower is under siege.
So Razor here, he's got his Refresher Orb, which he was farming up in the jungle. And they're likely going to try here for a push on bottom lane with BKB and Refresher and his ult. Thing is, if Tinker's there in position, BKB's not going to do anything against marching machines. And he's going to be able to push them back, even if Razor has his ultimate. Now, they can try and get a pick off on Tinker, because they do have a blink on
Dire's top
Alchemist,
tower is under siege.
and they do have multiple Force Staves, and they have a blink on Pudge, but I'm not convinced they're going to be able to make it work.
Dire's top tower
Tinker needs to get back in position. He's pretty much full mana, so he's going to be able to fight. So they're going to go ahead and try and break the base. There's the fort. Tinker needs to get in position here. He's the key to the fight going the Radiance way. Meanwhile, they are taking a lot of damage on their tower. Razor has not used his Refresher, sorry. There's a Nightmare to hold in place. Venge with a nice swap. Damage on Abaddon, but it's not really too consequential. And Razor able to get quite a bit of damage, and they managed to clear the tower, surprisingly. Morph's going to go ahead and pick off the Razor, so there's one ult down. He can't use a Refresher to bring it up again. Tinker here trying to maneuver around, support his team as best as he can. Continues throwing down the marching machines. Morph is down, but looks like they're going to pick off on Pudge. Pudge is down as well. Abaddon doesn't have his ult up, so he needs to back up if he doesn't want to die, but the stun goes towards the Tinker for some reason.
Bottom barracks has
And
fallen.
that's going to be...
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Looks like that's going to be a lane of Rax.
Radiant's bottom barracks has been destroyed.
Honestly, I expected more from Tinker. He should have been closer up here to get his machines off, and he didn't get in position quickly enough, so the other team was able to break the base a lot easier than they should have been able to. And that's a pretty good move from Dire in terms of kind of guaranteeing themselves a foothold in the late game. Keeping one lane push all the time helps counteract some of Tinker's shenanigans, because he's not able to just keep all your lanes pushed in. He has to constantly work, or some people on your team have to constantly work at keeping those lanes under control. Tinker does have his E-Blade up now, so he can blow up someone like the Vengeful Spirit pretty easily. Even the Alchemist is kind of susceptible. Tinker, Tinker. Failed your team there, man. They needed you. That's one of the worst parts of playing Tinker. So many decisions available to you. Like you could TP anywhere on the map. You could go do stuff in the jungle. You can try and gank someone. And you know, every once in a while you do make a mistake with regards to the optimal decision. And there, Tinker was pushing top. He came back a little bit too late, and he wasn't in a position to properly hold off the advance from the Dire. If he'd thrown down enough marching machines, it would have made it a lot more difficult for them to advance. But he was doing them from pretty far away, and that was letting them get up close and personal on the barracks and actually do pretty significant damage and eventually take it out. So, Vengeful swapping the what? Oh, okay. Pretending to swap the Eye over to Alchemist. I guess they considered it and decided against it. I think Alch is a pretty good carrier for it, given that he has Heaven's Halberd as well as his regen from his ultimate. But, alright, so this is a bit risky for Tinker because he's revealing his position, but a quick blink means that he's not going to get picked off. Meanwhile, these two are trying to push out bottom lane, which has mega creeps. It is a huge pain. Bud's just checking to make sure that he's not still there. Can't know for sure if he's actually TP'd out or not, unless you're listening carefully to the sounds, but even then, they aren't always necessarily going to give you the best indicator. Morphling here, intelligently sending back a copy of Abaddon so he can instantly port back to base. Tinker looks like maybe he learned part of his lesson. He's there a little bit more in person this time around, and Elder Titan, I think, is looking for a chance to stun on Tinker to prevent him from being able to jump back away and potentially go on him there. Morph doing his best here. He wants to push out the bottom lane. While these guys are pressuring, he has, what, 15 seconds left on the replicate. Oh, Tinker gets a pick off there with the E-Blade Dagon combo, and Gem goes on to Alchemist. Meanwhile, Razor is caught in place, but no follow-up on the Razor. More, for some reason, continuing to push bottom. I think he figures his team can hold. That might prove to be a risky decision, but it looks like it might pay off. But Razor with his ultimate double stack here, he's going so hard on the base. Looks like Razor is going to fall. Not quite. Razor hasn't died yet, and Tinker dies here. Morphling really needs to get back and help his team out, but instead he's just pushing fruitlessly, trying to take out bottom barracks. And the first lane of Rax was Tinker's fault, and now it's looking like Morph was making a big mistake, because even if he takes out the barracks, that's a buyback on Tinker. I don't think he's going to take out the barracks. Oh, he gets the barracks just barely. I still don't agree with the decision. Very risky for him to do that, to leave his team to fend for themselves when they're behind there on the grass. They're pulling back up now with a pretty stand-up play from Tinker, but if he didn't have buyback, if he didn't manage to land that pick-off from the Vengeful Spirit, if his team hadn't managed to get in position quite as nicely, they could have gone really badly and they would have lost another full lane of Rax. Razor just barely died at the end of that engagement. And he did get a tower, well, 2 towers under Rax, but should have backed up after the second one. I wonder if they realize there's a gem here. It's an easy pickup for the courier to go ahead and grab. But nice plays here from the Tinker, saving his team from losing another lane of Rax. He's going to look for a pickoff if he can find one. Just throwing down marching machines. Morphling starting to get a bit more farm, but not quite there yet. Likely going to pick up his Eagle Horn here and work towards getting an E-Blade. I think he's going shotgun. We'll see what he decides to do. Meanwhile, Tinker keeping those other lanes pushed out. Oh, so he's going for a Scotty, which is a pretty good decision. It'll help him with survivability. Vengeful Spirit just waiting for the Roshan, and we'll see if it comes up for them or not. No, another minute and 30 seconds. Batrider perched ever so precariously here on top. Sees them moving through, likely gave a warning to Abaddon. Abaddon, you need to peace the F out, otherwise it's going to be a bad day for you. Tinker, I'm not sure why he's not spamming his bottle when he's in the fountain to reduce downtime. He is spending a lot of time sort of considering where it is he wants to go. You might want to make sure that he's not TPing into a dangerous area. Most of the time, if you're quick enough on your blinks, you can just blink out off to the side where they can't catch you. So there's that if you want to try and reduce your downtime. This could be a really risky situation here for Morph. Morph goes ahead and jumps right out. Bane's going to get picked off pretty hard. Nothing you can do about that. Oh, nice Nightmare, going to save him from that. Stun's going to go off on Alchemist. A Flame Break doing a lot of damage here. Daisy taking a lot of damage as well. Bane's going to try and hold Pudge in place. Do they have enough damage though? Tinker's providing support from on top. Does manage to get a pick off there on the Vengeful Spirit. Bat using the Yule's going to try and blink away, but not fast enough. There's a shield, but he can't save him. Not sure if Abaddon should have gone back into that fight. Tinker here still providing support with his Marching Machines, but that's 3 for 1. And Morphling, he fled the fight and didn't really come back in, so he couldn't help out his team too much. These three are going to try and push mid, but it's not certain how effective they'll be because Tinker's still up, and I think Razor's ult is down. Although it's nearly back up, so he's might want to combo it out and do another double ult here on the middle towers. I think he's got his heart coming to him. Yeah, so Razor has a heart. He's much tankier now. He's going to be able to sustain Marching Machines a little bit better. A good pickup for him, and I like the way he's building because right now Radiant's team is kind of focused around the burst, so by getting a heart of Tarask
Radiant's middle tower is being attacked.
Oh jeez, so dirty. Coming in with a double ult here on the bottom racks. He doesn't want to have wasted his refresher and his Aghanims, but it looks like that's what's going to happen. He does pull out the fort, and next time he goes for the backdoor approach, the fort will not be available. We'll see if he decides to drop the TP and grab the gem. Very indecisive, Razor. What are you doing? Do it or don't do it, but don't just hang around. So the gem is noticed like 5 minutes later. So gets a little bit of damage in on the range racks. Not enough to take it out. Roshan is back up. We'll see if Dire decides to take it again. They do know it's there, I think, based on Elder Titan's positioning in the pit. Tinker's going to keep doing what he does, pushing out lanes. Gem is now up on Razor. Not sure if he needs to be carrying it, but he is. Oh, there you go. Some nice D-wards happening for them now. Oh, Pudge. Oh, Pudge. Some risky business. So Bat's going to see if he can find someone, potentially grab them, pull them out of position. They don't actually know that Pudge is behind their lines. And as a result, the Dyers position themselves quite strategically here near the Ancients, limited their exposure to potential gank. And Alchemist, oh,
watch my head.
blinks back to avoid getting picked off. Good decision from him. Either of these teams needs to get a pick off before they can take Roshan. It's a little bit too risky for them to try and take them out before. Oh, Bat's coming in here. Oh, I understand this Bat. I don't know. He's had many opportunities to use his ult, and he keeps backing up. Manages to pull Pudge in, but Pudge is very tanky, and the rest of the team's going to be able to follow up. There's a Venge stun on Bane. Pudge still alive, got his BKB going. He's going to be able to back out of the fight without falling. Razor coming in now is going to go on Morphling, steal as much damage as possible, gets 56, not too consequential. Bat using his ability to his advantage, able to back up. Razor here trying to beat on Tinker, but he's going to go for the Bat instead. Bat just barely gets away, Tinker just barely gets away, and that's 2 for nothing. So a pretty good fight for Dire. My opinion, a shitty target for an ultimate from Batrider there with the lasso. It would be better for him to grab the Vengeful that he spotted initially. Maybe he wasn't ready. Maybe he wasn't expecting her to come close. But pick off on a Vengeful would have prevented any defensive swaps, would have prevented the stun that came out on the Bane, and would have meant an easy kill for them, even if they didn't necessarily get all of the people on the other team. I think it would have been a more even fight, or at least gotten 1 kill instead of 0-2. That and Pudge is working on this Morphling replicate. Quite tricksy on their part, sending in the replicate of the same guy who's nearby. Cheese on Pudge, Gem on Alk, Aegis on Razor. So Dire, they've kind of settled into a groove here. They get the Aegis, they go ahead and push. They take out Elena Rax, and it's going to be difficult for the Radiant to stop them. Ever since they sort of forfeited the advantage here, as well as paid a heavy price for defense here, they've been having trouble keeping them under control. Although, they were getting... It's a very interesting game, a lot of swings and momentum. Which I guess you can tell by the commentary, because earlier I was favoring Radiant, then I was favoring Dire, then I was favoring Radiant, then I was favoring Dire, and now I think... I don't know. I think I'm favoring... I'm going to say Radiant, even though they just lost their advantage with that shitty team fight. Tinker's just so strong, and Morphling's nearly got his Scotty up. And they took out the melee rack, so this bottom lane pushing all the time is not going to be as much of a problem. The one caveat is that they really need to be ready to defend here on the bottom, otherwise the fact that they might have an advantage in the late game is not really going to matter if you start losing all your lanes of racks, and then they can just gradually push you down with Razor's ultimate, especially since he's got a refresh orb. So Tinker needs to push his machines in the other direction.
Radiant's top barracks has fallen.
Nice shield from Abaddon, going to save him for a bit.
Dominating!
Razor's just going to go ahead and take out the racks. They do use the force. The melee racks are still up, but Abaddon's getting all his damage leached away. And they're going to get another lane of racks here.
Radiant's top barracks has been destroyed.
Not sure why Tinker's choosing to push his machine sideways, because they don't do as much damage outward.
Oh, stormy!
I guess Bat tries for an ultimate there. Bane is holding Pudge in place, and he will fall, but Bane will pay with his life. Tinker is trying to support his team here, throwing out a lot of burst damage with his combination. Come on, Bane. Okay. So they have Razor in place. He's going to go ahead and refresh her in BKB. He's going to try and fight, and he's got his team coming in to support him, so he can potentially do this and make it work. Razor's going to fall. Razor down, so that's a nice reply here. Ooh, the blade mail there hurt quite significantly for them. Okay, guys. So you team wiped them, but now you need to push out. At this point, they can leave Tinker to defend with March of the Machines and send everyone else to push out to try and get another lane of racks, because they need to equalize on the racks. Even Tinker's going to have trouble keeping up with all the creeps flowing in on both sides.
That's one way to work out the impurities.
Alk does buy back. He's going to be able to use Acid Spray to hold them off here at the tower. They should still be able to do a decent amount of damage, but he does have pretty much his whole team with him now. A little bit too delayed there on the push out, so they're not going to be able to really take advantage of the fact they got so many kills. Nice swap there on Bane, going to pull him out of position. Bane is saved briefly, but I think Pudge is going to... Oh! Nice Force Staff. Wow. Really well played there. I think Abaddon just saved Bane, like, from a certain death. That was a really nice play. This Razor's getting really, really farmed. And the combination of this double ult with BKB is proving to be quite difficult for the Radiant to handle. I think this is the point where Tinker needs to ask himself if he really needs to be carrying around the bottle in his inventory and should instead get something like a sheep stick to try and keep the Razor in control. But Tinker's problem is that they have a lot of heroes on the Dire side who are able to just move in and take pot shots at him and really hold him in place, with Pudge, with Elder Titan with his sleep, with Alchemist with his stun, with Vengeful Spirit with her swap and her stun. So somewhat reducing the effectiveness of him. He's still in his base. He's been doing a good job, but he needs to be more proactive here in terms of keeping the lanes pushed out. Now he knows that the rest of the team is mid, so he can afford to go in to the other lanes and push them, but at this point he needs to get back in position mid. So. Alright, another big push here from the Dire. They're leaving Alchemist just kind of out in front here, waiting to see what he'll get. That does pull Venge in, a much better target. That's a quick pick off on Venge. Stun does go off on Bane, but they're not going to be able to follow off. They're down one, and Pudge misses his hook. Looks like this is going to be their opportunity that they're going to take to move in. Bane ults on Alchemist. Sorry, that's an Alchemist. Elder Titan will fall. 2 for 0. Radiant looking for another pick off. Bat using his flame break, doesn't find anyone though, and
Radiant's middle tower is under siege.
Tinker's gonna have to go back and defend. Meanwhile, the 4 of them should push mid, and they need to push mid hard because they need to get a little respite for their team here. If they push the creeps in mid, they can go ahead and finish off Rack's bottom, or maybe try for a tower on top. They don't have that much damage really. Morphling just now working up
Radiant's middle tower
to getting
is
a
under
bunch of
attack.
damage in, and Dire has chosen here to just go ahead and pressure the actual base by pushing the creeps in. Razor's going to go for the base crush again. And I think no, they don't have a fort available, so it's going to be really dangerous for them. Razor using his ult there to sort of bait out a defensive reaction. He might even try and turn this, depending on how much damage you can get from the Abaddon. Oh my goodness. It's a whole 224 damage. Dire is fighting Morph, trying to pin him in place. Does get a nice waveform jump up there. I don't know if they're going to be able to follow up and catch him out of position. Pudge is coming in from the side. I don't know. He knows where he is now. Lincoln Sphere is up though, so Dismember's not going to go off. Oh, a nice jump here. Pudge does get a hook off. He knows Lincoln's is up though, so he can't. Oh, it's not up. So
Fresh mate.
what the? Oh, the jukes. Really nice plays from Morphling. In the end, not enough. I thought the Lincoln Sphere was down. Maybe Static Link doesn't. It must activate it. Pudge really thought that he was going to be able to dismember based on the fact that that was out. But another invisibility rune here for the Dire. This time on Bat. He's using it to pretty good effect, scouting them out as they approach. And double ult is available on Razor, so I guess the Dire is determined to prove me wrong, and I'm kind of thinking it's going to be difficult for Radiant to defend this last push now. They do have Morphling down, and it's without...
Radiant's middle tower is
Wait, he
being
does have
attacked.
buyback. He's not without buyback, so he's ready to go, but even if Morphling is out... Oh, the pickoff on Bat. Bat dies. Morphling does buy it back, but they're still down one because they lost their Bat Rider. And Razor's just looking to cycle up here into the base. Uses his BKB. Uses his ult twice. He's tearing down the base. They do have a fort available, so they could potentially defend this. Daisy taking a lot of damage. Hombre on the Bat Rider comes in, grabs the Razor. This is their last stand. They need to make them pay for their attempt on the racks. Locky continuing the damage. He's going to die, though, and he doesn't have an Aegis. Will we see a comeback? Oh, they need to stop him. Nice disjoint there with the Morphling push. Pudge, meanwhile, he was hanging down by the creeps. And Tinker needs to go back to playing base defense 2000. Tinker decides to go straight to the creeps here as opposed to the fountain to keep them pushed off the towers. Pretty good decision on his part. And this is the opportunity here now for the Radiant to do some damage to the base. No buybacks on
My power returns.
Vengeful. Oh, Vengeful does have buyback.
Dire's
No
middle
buyback on
tower
Alf.
is under
So,
attack.
wait, he's there. Need to work on my buyback track. So Locky has been pulled out of position. They're going all out on him, but that Heart is doing a lot of work for him. He's still alive. Vengeful swaps him out. He's going to make it out of this battle alive, and he should be able to return pretty soon with the regen from his Heart. Daisy doing work. Does have his ult up. There's the burst combination from Tinker, finishing off yet another poor target. This time Alchemist,
Double
the one who falls. Morphling starting to do work here. Does have his ult up. This looks like it could be Radiant winning the game.
Take me down.
Daisy here is ready to defend bottom. Tinker can come back and help as well. Tinker wants to try and get as many Martian machines going so he can prevent them from getting in there and defending easily. He's going to look to finish off. Vengeful falls. Morphling really tanky at this point, and without natural order to reduce his armor, he's not... Oh, now his armor's down. He's going to fall. Morphling dies as well. Bad as well. Oh, gosh.
The underski.
Super intense battles happening all over the place. 3 up for Dire, 2 up for Radiant. Roshan is available for the killing. Not sure if either team is aware of that. TP in here from Elder Titan. He wants to help Razor just go ahead and go into base. I think Razor does have a buyback. No, he's got a buyback on cooldown. He just bought back. Razor wants to try and do some damage here before everyone else on the other team comes up, and he's going to just go ahead and go for the barracks again. He's a determined man. He gets the fort rune out, which is nice for him. Not sure about him spending so much time here in front, and he's going to get ulted by the Bane. Elder Titan really needs to send his guy in to stop Bane from channeling. Razor with a lot of plus damage, but he's going to die. He's not going to make it out of there alive. Really bad move from him. He wanted to take out the Rax, but it was just too much to aim for right at that point, and he ended up dying and not really achieving anything at all. When he saw that TP come out from the Bane has the ability to hold you in place with so much CC. You really need to back up and respect the fact that he can make you pay for poor positioning. So that's Razor down for 90 seconds, and that's going to be about 60 seconds that Razor is down while everyone is up on the Radiant side. We'll see if the Radiant's able to make that count. They still haven't gotten another lane of Rax, or even a full lane of Rax, to match the 4 barracks that are down in favor of the Radiant versus the 1 for... in favor of the Dire versus the 1 for the Radiant. This game going too long. My tongue is getting tangled. Tinker here has opted for a Bloodstone instead of the bottle. I would have honestly, I think Sheepstick would make a pretty big difference here. Being able to continuously sheep someone like a Razor, keep him under control, prevent him from BKBing is going to make a big difference in these team fights. Dire taking advantage of their positioning for Roche. That running in here without too much of an objective, and he's probably going to die now. Really unfortunate play from that there. Looks like Abaddon might fall as well. And they decide to go for Bane instead, as he's a little bit easier of a target to pick off. Radiant here ready to fight. They're going to try and prevent this from being a total wipe. Bane is still up. His teammates doing a good job sustaining him. Alchemist falls. Venge does manage to port up the cliff, or push up the cliff.
Dire's middle barracks
and that would have been a totally different fight if Razor was available to help out, but he got picked off earlier. So they finally do get a lane of Rax, or the mid Rax here, so they're 2 for 2 on the melee Rax, which should make a pretty big difference. It's going to help them with keeping the pressure off. Bane's going to pay with his life, but pretty worth it to get those Rax down. And Tinker, poor Tinker. This is not the especially fun kind of Tinker games. He is getting some kills with his combination of E-Blade and Dagon, but he's spending most of his time here just trying to keep them under control. Is he finally building a Sheepstick? Gets rid of the Soul Ring, and I think he's working up towards a Sheepstick. Bloodstone is an interesting pickup on Tinker. It does help with mana regeneration, lets you stay out there a lot longer, but also the fact that getting more charges reduces your respawn time is actually pretty important in these kind of games, because if you die and you're on a hero like Tinker, that's pretty huge hit for your team. So if you're able to respawn really quickly and get back in the fight without necessarily buying back, you're helping your team out a lot there. Nice defensive blink here from Tinker, just in case there's someone nearby. It's a good move by him. There's a Black King bar on the ground. I don't know whose it is, but that's interesting. It's really interesting. I'm so curious. I can't see whose it is. So this game, 66 minutes long. Let's take a look at the graph. We haven't seen them in a while. The Radiant drop down, back up, drop down again, back up again. They're at 5K now, which is not significant at all, really, in a 67-minute game, but kind of shows the swings of momentum in terms of how either team is doing. So any big mistake from either team here is probably going to be pretty much GG. And it's interesting, Tinker's the only one with a buyback. So in this next fight, if a lot of heroes on the Dire fall, it's going to be hard for them to recover because they don't have buybacks to help them defend their base. They had to use those earlier. Or they just haven't had a chance to farm up the monies just yet. Oh, the lag came back. Jeez, paused for so long. I think you guys probably don't mind me fast forwarding through that, especially if you're the ones playing. Who played in this game, you probably don't want to witness having to wait that long again. So a smoke here from the Dire. Could this be the game-ending smoke? They want to try and find a pickoff. Tinker is bottom. Pudge. Does Pudge see him? Pudge is an invis, actually. Pudge knows Tinker is there. He's going to go for it. His team needs to follow up quickly before Tinker can get out alive. There's the burst damage. Tinker's going to fall. He does have buyback, so Tinker's ready to fight again. Managed to pick off the Vengeful. There's the ult from Razor. Has not used his second ult yet. He's draining damage off of Abaddon. A lot of machines pushing damage out onto the other team right now. It's helping them hold here on the bottom. So now they're down one hero for the Dire, but they need to keep this push off. Morphling probably going to get a pick off here on Pudge, but he does have Aegis, so it's not going to be a permanent death. Meanwhile, though, Razor, cheeky, going for the base here, wants to try and get his final set of racks down and help his team really solidify the advantage they have in terms of the lanes. But Morphling doing a lot more damage than he was before, is able to start beating down people. Tinker getting picked off a bit, but he's able to survive as well. That E-Blade giving him a lot of versatility. And they're able to save the racks and repel the Dire side. That's 4 down. Elder Titan here on the side. He's going to be able to escape, but that's not going to be enough. Morph coming in, as well as Bat Rider. Vengeful does buy back, but that's 3 in the base. Pudge does buy back. Still 3 in the base. They might be able to get pick off here on Pudge. Pudge is on bottom. Nice dodges with the blink daggers. Those aggressive ports forward. Pretty good play from the Radiant side. Morphling really starting to make a difference here. Had a super slow start, was pretty useless most of the game, but he's got his farm lined up quite nicely now, and with 31 armor, that's 65% physical damage resistance, so quite significant there. They've left Morphling behind to defend, and they're just trying to pressure up mid here while they're still missing Razor and Alk. Bat wants to get a pick off, but again, slow on the pick off. And Morphling comes in. I think they're looking to they're looking to get a lane of racks.
Dire structures have been
a little bit more attainable than finishing off the throne. And this will allow them to stop having to deal with a constant push, which would be really nice for them. They do have enough damage to take out the melee racks. I don't think they're going to be able to contest. Oh, the split's coming in. It is going to hit Tinker, but oh, Pudge missed your hook. Pudge does have Hex. Bat bumping them off of Tinker there with the Flame Strike. Pulls him back with Firefly. Going a little bit too hard on Tinker, trying to pick him off, and he's going to pay with his life. Tries the last hook just to find him, but this looks like this is going to be the end of the Dire. All heroes up for Radiant. Alchemist down as well. And they're going to go ahead for the finish. They're running in. They know they've got this. Razor is currently beating on the racks. This could be a bad decision for Tinker potentially. But he does have 13 charges on his Bloodstone, so he won't be dead for too long. I don't know why he keeps refreshing. Oh, he's just trying to keep his... Tink's trying to keep his Ethereal. And it's a base race with a huge advantage to the Radiant side here. Radiant end up fulfilling my prophecy. Yes! Well played by them. Let's see. Endgame analysis. Look at the... So a lot of back and forth momentum there. I think the change that we saw was that Dire, with the base push, refresher, eggs on Razor, had a really strong mid game, but kind of tailed off a little bit in the late game as Alchemist and Pudge were getting much farm and weren't really able to match the Morphling and Tinker duo. I think the big mistake from the Dire was when Razor was trying to take that Rax for like the 5th time and was out of position, and his entire team got wiped because he was up front on the Rax and didn't back up when he should have. No, sorry, his team didn't get wiped, but he died for nothing, and they were able to go contest Roshan and get a few pickoffs without really without paying too much for them. If Razor had been there during that fight, they could have turned around, pushed back down through mid. Instead, the Radiant was able to get a bit more time to farm, get even more farm on their Morphling, who by that time was actually starting to make a difference in team fights. And Tinker was able to hold off the wave, or the constant wave of mega creeps coming in until they were able to buy themselves an advantage. Really well played on both sides. We saw the effect of that buyback that Tinker had in that last fight on bottom. He got picked off immediately, but he had a buyback, so he was able to get back into the fight and then kill Vengeful pretty much instantly, and then follow up with kills on the other heroes, whereas they didn't really have buybacks or the ability to be at the fight in an instant, since they were fighting in the other base. But yeah, a really pretty intense game. Nice picks, good play from both sides. A few mistakes here and there, but those are bound to happen. But yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you guys like this cast, and that's all for now. Have a pleasant day.